Hello students, Savitribai Phule Pune University is going to take final year examination in October. The examination will be multiple choice question examination and students are giving first time examinations like this in undergraduate science courses. So I am going to explain here nature of questions that may be asked in the final year examination. For that purpose, I have taken quantum mechanics course at the TY B.Sc Physics. And in this lecture, I am going to explain you multiple choice questions on origin of quantum mechanics. That is first topic of quantum mechanics course. So here we will start first brief summary of this origin of quantum mechanics course. Here we have black body spectrum. And this is black body spectrum E lambda versus lambda. And if we see this spectrum, you will observe that when at certain temperature, if we see energy emitted by the black body from lower wavelength to higher wavelength, the energy emission goes on increasing, reaches somewhere maximum value, and then it decreases. So this peak corresponding to some wavelength lambda, and if we see different temperatures, you will observe that when temperature increases, emission increases, but that lambda m decreases. And it is observed that lambda m into T is constant. So this is also called Wien's displacement law. The total energy emitted by the black body at temperature T, absolute temperature T, is given by Stephen's law of black body radiation, and it is E is directly proportional to 4th power of absolute temperature, that is E is equal to sigma T raised to 4, where sigma is Stephen's constant and its value is this 5.67 into 10 raised to minus 8 watt per meter square per degree Kelvin raised to 4. In order to explain black body spectrum, Wien gave two laws in 1893 that are called displacement laws. That is lambda T is equal to constant. Lambda means here lambda, that is wavelength corresponding to peak of uh, energy spectrum at that temperature. And second, E T raised to minus 5 is equal to constant. These are called Wien displacement laws. In order to explain black body spectrum, Wien gave one law, and that is called Wien's law. It is E lambda d lambda is equal to A upon lambda raised to 5 multiplied by E raised to minus B upon lambda t into d lambda, where A and B are constants. But it was observed that this law is valid only in the shorter wavelength region, means in this region. In 1900, Rayleigh and Jeans approached the energy distribution problem differently, and they obtained this formula. E lambda d lambda is equal to 8 pi kt upon lambda raised to 4 into d lambda, where k is Boltzmann constant, but it is observed that this law is valid in longer wavelength regions. In 1901, Planck proposed new formula for black body radiations, and that formula is given as E lambda d lambda is equal to 8 pi Sc upon lambda raised to 5 into 1 upon E raised to Sc upon lambda kt minus 1 into d lambda. In order to give this formula, Planck assumed that energy emitted by the black body is in the form of small packets having energy either 0, h nu, 2 times h nu, 3 times h nu, and so on. This h is called Planck's constant, nu is called frequency. And whatever formula given by the Planck, it completely explains this black body spectrum. So in order to explain black body radiations, Planck took new approach, that is energy emitted in the form of small packets called photons. Next famous experiment, it is photoelectric effect. This is next effect. The ejection of electrons from the metal surface when light is incident on it is called photoelectric effect. The ejected electrons are called photoelectrons. Now Leonard studied this photoelectric effect experimentally, and the observed facts about the photoelectric effects are: when the frequency of incident radiation was changed, the energy of photoelectrons was also changed. In fact, energy of photoelectron increases when frequency of incident radiation increases. Second observed fact is the energy of photoelectrons is independent of intensity of incident radiations, while photocurrent depends on intensity of incident radiations, but energy is independent. Electrons were not emitted from the metal surface when frequency of incident radiation is less than the certain frequency. This frequency below which there is no emission of electrons is called threshold frequency. In But these facts could not be explained on the basis of classical theory of light, that is wave theory of light. Means black bodies spectrum as well as photoelectric effect could not be explained on the basis of wave theory of light. In order to explain photoelectric effect in 1905, Einstein proposed that the energy incident on the metal surface is in the form of bundles or small packets called photons, each having energy h nu. And when photon incident on the metal surface, whole energy of the photon is transferred to the electron, and electrons can come out from the metal surface. And he gave famous equation, that is kinetic energy of any electron is h nu minus w, where h nu it is energy of incident photon, w is work function. So when total energy is transferred to electron, w is used for the electron to come out from the metal surface, that is work function, and remaining energy is with electron, and that goes as kinetic energy to the electron. And this equation completely able to explain black body spectrum. So in order to explain photoelectric effect, in order to explain photoelectric effect, Einstein took into account particle nature of light. So what is true nature of light? Is it wave or is it particle? So it is assumed that light has dual nature. In some experiments it behaves like a wave, and in some experiments it behaves like a particle. For example, in experiments like polarization, diffraction, reflection, refraction, interference, in which path traveled by the light is taken into account, wave nature of light is used. while the experiments like photoelectric effect, Compton's effect, and so on, in which interaction of light with material particle is taken, particle nature of light is used. So these two natures are not contradictory to each other. So on the basis of this, Louis de Broglie put forward new suggestions like radiations matter has dual nature. That is, matter which is made up of discrete particles, atoms, protons, electrons might exhibit wave-like properties under appropriate conditions. Means he gave two bold suggestions. Nature loves symmetry. Since radiations behave like particles as well as waves, particles in motion may behave like waves, and that waves are called matter waves. And de Broglie gave wavelength corresponding to that moving particle as lambda is equal to h upon p, where p is momentum of the particle and which can be equal to mv, where v is velocity of the particle, m is mass of the particle. And energy can be written as E is equal to h nu, that is h upon 2 pi into 2 pi nu. So h upon 2 pi into omega h bar omega, where h bar is called reduced Planck's constant. And momentum you can write mv is equal to h upon lambda is equal to h upon 2 pi into 2 pi upon lambda is equal to h bar k. An expression for the de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron accelerated through p volts is given as lambda is equal to 12.27 divided by root of p into angstrom in it. A wave packet is a group of waves each having slightly different wavelength and velocity. This is called wave group. Phase velocity with which the wave group propagates, it is omega upon k. Vp is equal to omega upon k, and group velocity is given as Vg is equal to d omega by dk. And from this, we can obtain two formulas for group velocity, relation between group velocity and phase velocity. Vg is equal to Vp plus k dVp by dk, and Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda dVp by d lambda. So these are two formulas. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle states that it is impossible to determine precisely and simultaneously the momentum and position of the particle. According to uncertainty principle, if we measure accurately the position of particle, its momentum becomes uncertain and vice versa. And the famous Einstein Heisenberg's uncertainty relation is delta x into delta p is px, it is greater than or equal to h bar. If delta x is small, delta px will be large and vice versa. More precise relation of uncertainty principle is delta x into delta px is greater than or equal to h bar by 2. The time energy uncertainty relation is given as delta E into delta T is equal to h. Angular momentum and angular displacement uncertainty relation is given as delta L into delta theta is greater than or equal to h bar by 2. You can write this also, delta E into delta T, it is greater than or equal to h bar by 2. Now Davison and German experiment established that moving particle has wave nature. Now let us see some MCQs. First one, what formula best describes the emission spectrum of black body? We have seen three formulas for emission of black body. First one, that is Rayleigh-Jeans formula. Second one, Wien's formula. Third one, Planck's formula. And Stephen's formula, it is for total energy emitted by the black body at temperature T. Now, Rayleigh-Jeans formula, it is valid for longer wavelengths in the spectrum. Wien's formula, it is valid for shorter wavelengths, while Planck's formula, it is valid for all wavelengths. And we know uh, whatever Planck's formula, E lambda d lambda is equal to 8 pi Sc upon lambda raised to 4 1 upon E raised to Sc upon lambda kt minus 1 into d lambda best describes emission spectrum of the black body. So this answer is correct. Now second objective, in which region of wavelength spectrum Wien's formula is valid? Just we have seen Wien's formula is valid in shorter wavelength region, while Rayleigh-Jeans formula is valid for longer wavelength region. So here answer is shorter wavelength region. Now what is the work function of the material? In photoelectric effect, work function of the material, it is minimum energy that electron requires to escape from the metal surface into the vacuum. So if we see here four choices, out of four choices, this second one is correct. The minimum energy that an electron needs to escape into the vacuum. Now, fourth one, during the Einstein's photoelectric experiment, what changes are observed when the frequency of incident radiation is increased? We know Einstein's formula, that is Ke, kinetic energy, it is h nu minus w, where w is work function, h nu is energy of incident radiations, nu is frequency, and Ke is kinetic energy of emitted electron. So if frequency increases, since work function is constant for that material, kinetic energy increases. And to measure kinetic energy, maximum kinetic energy of the electron, we apply reverse potential, and kinetic energy, maximum kinetic energy, that is measured using reverse potential, or that is also called stopping potential. So when frequency increases, kinetic energy increases, so corresponding stopping potential also increases. So here we can say we have four choices. The value of saturation current increases, saturation current increases, the value of stopping potential increases, the value of stopping potential decreases. So here we have third one is correct, and it is taken from this website, this question. Next one, how does the intensity affect the photocurrent? Now photocurrent depends on intensity. Intensity is nothing but uh, amount of light incident on the material per unit area per unit time. So if intensity is more, more electrons are emitted and we get more photocurrent. So here as intensity increases, the photoelectric effect increases. As intensity decreases, the photoelectric effect decreases. As intensity decreases, the photoelectric effect becomes twice, no effect. So here as intensity increases, the photoelectric effect increases. This is the correct choice. Now next one, the photoelectric emission could be explained by wave nature of light, particle nature of light, dual nature of light, quantum nature. So it is explained using quantum nature, particle nature of light. Wave nature of light is unable to explain photoelectric effect. The frequency below which photoelectric emission is not possible is called threshold frequency. So threshold frequency is the frequency below which there is no emission of electrons from the metal surface. And threshold frequency is different for different metals. And threshold frequency is also measure of work function. Work function of the material is given as h nu 0, where nu 0 it is threshold frequency. Now next one, cutoff potential is function of. Just we have seen in above question here in this one, we have seen the cutoff potential is a function of frequency of incident light. If frequency is more, cutoff potential is more. Light of wavelength 4000 angstrom unit is incident on a sodium surface, for which this threshold wavelength of photoelectron is 5420 angstrom unit. The work function of sodium is. So here 4000 angstrom unit, it is wavelength of incident light, while threshold wavelength is this one. And we know speed of light, it is frequency into wavelength. So frequency is c upon lambda. When lambda is more, nu is small or less. So we know work function, it is given as h nu 0, where nu 0 is threshold frequency. So I can write here W is equal to Sc upon lambda 0. H is Planck's constant, C is speed of light, and lambda 0 is threshold wavelength. So I can take this as 6.625 into 10 raised to minus 34 joules second, that is H. C is, we can take 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second divided by wavelength, that is 5420 into 10 raised to minus 10 meter. It is in angstrom unit, given in angstrom unit. So if we calculate this, we can get 6.625 into 3 divided by 5420 into, now 10 raised to minus 38 plus 8. So 26, and this plus 10. So we'll get this one, it becomes 10 raised to plus 10. So 18 and 34. So this gives minus 34. This gives 10 raised to minus 16. And now if we calculate this, we will get here 6.625 into 3 upon 520. So I will calculate this 6.625 into 3 divided by 5420. This gives you 0.0036697. So I can write 367 into 10 raised to minus 16. So I can write this as 3.67 into 10 raised to minus 19 joules. Now you can convert this into electron volt by dividing 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. So if we take that, you will get 3.67 divided by 1.6. So this gives you 2.29. 2.29 means approximately 2.3. So this is the correct answer. Now what is the next one? What is the value of the maximum kinetic energy acquired by electron due to radiation of wavelength 100 nanometer? Now here we have here 12 electron volt, 6.2 electron volt, 100 electron volt, and 3000 300 electron volt. We know Ke max is equal to h nu minus w. Now here wavelength is given, that is 100 nanometer. So 100 into 10 raised to minus 9 meter. So I can take this as 10 raised to minus 7 meter. This is wavelength. So what is h nu? H nu is hc upon lambda. So we'll get here 6.625 into 10 raised to minus 34 into 3 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 10 raised to minus 7. So we get here 10 raised to minus, this is 15, and this, so you get into 10 raised to minus 19 and 6.625 into 3. So 6.625 into 3 into 10 raised to minus 19, it is in joules. Now we can convert this into electron volt by dividing 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. So we'll get here 6.625 into 3 divided by 1.6, we get here 12.42. So h nu is 12.42 electron volt. So generally hw is work function. So here this work function, it must be less than h nu, or this one, it must be positive always or 0, positive always or 0. So if this is 0, kinetic energy is 0. So generally W, maximum kinetic energy, that can be W. So here generally half of this. So you will get this answer. Now next one, the minimum energy required to remove an electron is called work function. Now the de Broglie wavelength associated with moving particle is lambda is equal to h upon p, where p is momentum, h is Planck's constant, lambda is called de Broglie wavelength, and we know p is equal to m into p. So we get lambda is equal to h upon mv. So this d is correct. Now the de Broglie wavelength associated with moving electron through potential difference of p volt each. Now we know lambda is equal to h upon mv. mv is momentum. Suppose an electron having mass m and charge E moving through potential, suppose from minus to plus of capital V volts. It acquires kinetic energy equal to E into V. Kinetic energy, we know it is 1/2 mv square, V is velocity, into E into voltage V. So we can write this as m square V square upon 2m, just divided and multiplied by m. So it is EV. So E into capital V. So m square V square is equal to 2m EV. So what is mv? mv is equal to root of 2m E capital V, that is voltage, potential difference. So what is lambda? Lambda we get h upon root of 2m EV, and we know mass of electron, that is 9.11 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg. Charge on electron is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. Coulomb. H Planck's constant, we know that H is 6.625 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second. If we use all these values, we will get lambda is equal to 12.27 upon root of V into 10 raised to minus 10 meter, means 12.27 upon root of V angstrom unit. So here we have this answer. A is the correct answer. Now, the de Broglie wavelength associated with moving electron through the potential difference of 100 volts. So we have here lambda is equal to 12.27 upon root of V angstrom unit. So if we use here lambda is equal to 12.27 upon root of 100 angstrom unit, root of 100 is 10. So 12.27 upon 10 angstrom unit, it is equal to 1.227 angstrom unit. So here this last answer is correct. Now the de Broglie wavelength associated with moving electron through potential difference of 54 volts. You will get this answer. Only use 54 volt here. Here. Which one of the following equation between group velocity and phase velocity is true? We know phase velocity is given by Vp is equal to omega by k, and group velocity Vg is equal to d omega by dk. So from this we can write omega is equal to k into Vp. So Vg I can write d by dk of omega. So d by dk of kVp. So if we take here Vg is equal to, first take Vp constant and differentiate k with respect to k. Then k is constant, dVp by dk. Now you can have k is equal to 2 pi upon lambda. So dk you can write minus 2 pi upon lambda square into d lambda. Now Vg, now here if we see correct answer here, so you can use these two in this equation. We will get Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda into dVp by d lambda. Now search for answer. So this is not correct because here lambda k, this is also not correct. So lambda, so these two are correct actually. So here actually you can take here plus. So Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda dVp by d lambda. This one is correct answer. So I have taken here plus. Now, which one of the following equations between group velocity and phase velocity is true? So if we see here, out of 4, you will observe this one is correct. Now, Heisenberg's uncertainty relation is given as, here first one is delta x divided by delta p is greater than or equal to h bar by 2. Second, delta x into delta p, it is greater than or equal to h bar by 2. Now delta x into delta p is greater than or equal to h bar square by 2, and delta x into delta p it is less than or equal to h bar. So uncertainty principle states that delta x into delta p, that is product of uncertainty in the measurement of position and uncertainty in the measurement of momentum, is best equal to or greater than h bar upon 2. So this second one is correct. Now next one, velocity of ripple waves is equal to root of 2 pi t upon rho lambda, where t is surface tension, lambda is the wavelength, and rho is the density of liquid. Find the group velocity. So this one, it is phase velocity. So I can write this as Vp is equal to root of 2 pi t upon rho lambda. Now see here, Vp is given in terms of lambda. 2 pi t and rho are constant. So we can use this equation. Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda into dVp by d lambda. So I can write Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda into d by d lambda of this equation. So I can write. So I will differentiate that. So d by d lambda of square root of 2 pi t upon rho lambda. Now 2 pi t upon rho is constant, so I can take that out. So root of 2 pi t upon rho, that is taken out, and d by d lambda of 1 upon root 2, root lambda. So we can write this one as root of 2 pi t upon rho d by d lambda of lambda raised to minus 1 now. So if we differentiate this, you will get this as root of 2 pi t upon rho into minus 1 half into lambda raised to minus 3 by 2. This is derivative. So use this derivative here. So we get Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda into minus 1 half lambda raised to minus 3 by 2 into root of 2 pi t upon rho. So if we see here Vp minus plus, so I can write here 1 half lambda into lambda raised to minus 3 by 2. You will get lambda raised to minus 1 half into 2 pi t root of 2 pi t upon rho. So I can write this as Vp plus 1 half. Now it is 1 upon root lambda, so I can simplify this 2 pi t upon rho lambda in root. So this is Vp. So I get Vp plus 1 half Vp. So this is equal to 3 by 2 Vp. So here 3 by 2 Vp, this answer is correct. Now the nickel crystal used in Davison-Germer experiment belongs to the FCC type. So this one is correct. A particle moving with its kinetic energy equal to 50 electron volt has wavelength 2.8 angstrom unit. If the kinetic energy is doubled, what should be its wavelength? So just we have seen here. Here we have seen relation between wavelength and momentum, and we know if we take here we can take lambda is equal to h by p. P is momentum, and we know kinetic energy, I can take this kinetic energy as T is equal to P square upon 2m. So what is P? P will get root of 2mt. So what is lambda? Lambda is h upon root of 2mt. So lambda is inversely proportional to T. So I can write lambda 1, that is wavelength corresponding to kinetic energy T1, and lambda 2 corresponding to kinetic energy T2. Lambda is inversely proportional to 1 upon root of kinetic energy. So if we take this equation here, you will get T2 root upon root of T1. So I can write here lambda 1 upon lambda 2 is equal to root of T2 upon T1. Now, what is given in the problem? A particle moving with its kinetic energy equal to 50 electron volt has wavelength 2.8. So here I can take this as 2.8 and this is 50. If the kinetic energy is doubled, means T2 is twice of T1, what is wavelength? So how can we find? So here lambda 1 upon lambda 2 we can write root of 2 because T2 is 2 times T1. So what is lambda 2? Lambda 2 is lambda 1 upon root of 2. Lambda 1 that is given 2.8 divided by root 2. If we calculate this, we will get this one 1.98 angstrom unit. Now next one is following four particles are moving with the same velocity. Which one of the following will have more wavelength? So we have alpha particle, electron, proton and neutron. We have seen de Broglie wavelength. Lambda is equal to h upon mv. Lambda is equal to h upon mv. Now, so I can say if velocity is same for all the particles, lambda is inversely proportional to mass. So four particles having the same velocity, so wavelength depends on mass. More is the mass, less is the wavelength. So out of these four, we know proton and neutron have nearly the same mass. Electron, it is smaller than proton and neutron, also it is smaller than alpha particle. So electron has less mass, so it will have more wavelength. So this is the correct answer. This is the correct answer. Like this, you will get questions in the examination from first topic. So you have to go through all the formulas, all the definitions in this chapter. Then you will be able to solve multiple choice questions. Thanks very much. In next lecture, I will explain you second chapter, that is the Schrodinger's equation. Thanks very much.